we're not looking at the physical behavior, but
not physical behavior, ma'am. In the sense, knowledge, language.
Yeah. Understanding responses. Okay, right. So let's quickly move on to the discussion. Now, learning outcomes basically are actually, if you look into our classrooms, we teach them on the basis of certain. You can mute yourself. We teach on the basis of the various skills, at least for now, right? You had teaching practice also based on certain listening, speaking, reading, writing that was given to you, based on which you taught. Now, the further understanding of teaching has been broken into more detailed ideas. So, learning outcomes are actually the sub skills of the whole individual skills, right? For example, let's say, and different kinds of task assigned for that for an individual or for a child to be able to acquire that particular skill. For example, to give you an example, to be able to, let's say, if you want to go for swimming or if you want to go for driving, the driver will not give you your driving seat suddenly, right? He might teach you small parts and bits and pieces of that particular skill. For example, for swimming, if you go, they might ask you to bubble, they might ask you to pedal your feet, they'll ask you how to scoop the water, they will ask you to take how to control breath. Now these are learning outcomes or the small parts that makes the whole skill that is the swimming skill. Okay, when you go for let's say car driving, also the driver will not give you the car straight away. There are certain other aspects of driving that he will teach you. Let's say he will teach you how to change the gear, how to move the steering, then looking at the rear view mirror, spacing. All that is what the driver or the tutor driver will teach you. Now these are again learning outcomes of the whole skill of driving, right? Similarly, learning outcomes are the smaller aspects, the finer aspects of the whole skill. Let's say, for example, most of the time when we do reading, we ask only question answers. Now, question answers, to be able to answer question is one particular learning outcome. But the challenge that we are doing in the school is we are asking only, of course, now maybe you will change and ask higher order questions. That is good. But in the beginning, when we are asking only comprehension level questions, then only one learning outcome, that is to be able to respond, comprehend and respond to a reading text, is the learning outcome that is being practiced from class 1 to class 10. Okay. Now, this is not what the reading. The reading comprises of many things. For example, in the induction module, as I was talking about, there we have had reading where a child is where the text is skimming. So there are many texts here. There's the main idea. I want to get the main idea of the quick brushing up I do. For example, when you are in the newspaper, you can't read everything in detail. You just brush up. And basic ideas, headlines, from there you infer what could be the content of it. That is also one of the learning outcomes of the whole skill, that is reading. Next, you might have to guess the meaning from the context. Most of the time, what we do is we give the meaning of the text, meaning of the words. There are also, we are focusing only on one learning outcome. But to be able to guess the meaning of the words from the context is another learning outcome of reading. Okay, to be able to visualize, to be able to predict. Let's say a small paragraph is given and the child is supposed to predict what comes next. This also has to be incorporated in our teaching process, because this is again another skill of reading, another sub-skill or the learning outcome of reading. Similarly, when it comes to writing, also to be able to write a sentence, a paragraph, punctuations, to be able to understand the organization of the ideas. That's another aspect of learning outcome of writing. To be able to, as I was for the induction, we have story writing and one essay writing. Now, actual essay writing has begins, or in between there are a good essay will have some research-based ideas, a catchy phrase. To be able to write a catchy phrase, to be able to complete one idea in one paragraph, begin another paragraph, another paragraph. This is also, and which idea is important, how to conclude. This is also another aspect of organization of ideas, use of correct language, choice of words. For example, let's say to be able to use synonyms. If you want to describe something, instead of using the same expressions like this is nice and that is nice, that is nice, if you use a variety of expression, this is good, this was marvelous, that was very inspirational, and that topic was extremely very elaborated. Now these are same word, but we are using many synonyms to write a paragraph. This is also another one important sub-skills of writing. So if the child is aware of this, she or he will refine her language. Now, to be able to use correct linkers, that's right angles of linkers connecting one idea to the other. This is another aspect of writing again. Okay, then the organization of ideas. So we have to teach children all of these small aspects, and this small aspects of handwriting, cursive writing, all these are also basic level of writing. Okay, punctuations, correct punctuations. So these are. So when it comes to writing, we have to teach them what are the important ideas, how to develop ideas, how to organize ideas, right, and how to add points to the paragraph or the essay. Okay, right punctuations to be used, right linkers to be used, and there are times I remember we were doing in the induction we have a profile writing paper. Most of the time when the children are writing the profile, they will use same subject. For example, let's say Mahatma Gandhi was so and so. He did so and so. He was born so and so. His father was so and so. He fought for the Indian freedom. He did like this. So if you look at it, the language is very repetitive. A good writing will change the subject. For example, let's say Gandhiji was born on so and so. The name of the father, instead of saying his father's name was so and so, we change the initial starting sentence. The father of Mahatma Gandhi was so and so. All right. Instead of saying he was born on so and so, the place that he was born was so and so. If you see, this is again one strategy or learning outcome. How do we refine or make a writing much more appealing, rather than repeating he like that? Change of subject is also one of the important aspects of writing. Now, we as teachers should be aware of this and teach them while teaching. All of these have to be in bits and pieces or together. It has to be incorporated. So learning outcome is that. Now, when it comes to speaking, let's say speaking, to be able to pronounce the word properly, giving them not only oral drilling. Oral drilling is one of them. That must be one learning outcome. But to be able to use correct stress, intonation, these we do not teach at all. How intonation has to be used when we are reading it. How do we modulate our voice when we are reading? Do we give practice to the children? We straight away ask them to read. And if there is a mistake, we will correct them. But giving them practice on the intonation, rising and lowing, or when there is a dialogue, when there is a question mark, how do we change our voice? When there is exclamation, how do we change? When there is a full stop, how do we change our voice? Right? These are again speaking exercise related to learning out. How do we stress a word? Okay, how do we organize thoughts? All these are again part of learning outcomes. So overall, we should understand whenever people ask for learning outcomes. Our learning outcomes are the smaller, finer aspects of the whole skill. Okay, and some of them have even asked what learning competencies. Learning competencies is that ability, as you said. Some of you said the change in behavior. Okay, whether by the end of the task, at the end, the child is able to show you that particular language element. That, for example, let's say subject change. Okay, you see in your paragraph the child has only written he, and you have given them an input and exercise, and so he is able to change the subject. Your learning outcome for that particular class is to be able to use different subjects words when they are writing a paragraph. That's your learning outcome. Okay, now you teach them and the child does it, and the next time when you see the child is able to perform that particular act, then that is the learning competency, that ability that the child has acquired or the student has acquired. So that is learning competency, is the ability once it is acquired. Okay, so this is what learning outcome is. Did you understand what learning outcome is before I go ahead with the next topic? If you have any doubts, you can quickly ask me. Then we'll talk about activities. Prabha, you have any doubts?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No doubt, ma'am. It's very clear, ma'am.
Okay, fine, right? So as I said, these are there are different kinds of we have sub skills or the small aspects of LSRW. Okay, and language elements. Generally, grammar and vocabularies are considered as language elements. These are the parts, language elements, because they comprise or they are flesh of all the skills. So grammar is also then all these LSRW, vocabulary is also then LSRW. So all this while we were teaching skill based. So we might move from skill based to more learning outcome based of teaching later in the near future. You should be aware. Okay. So like all of these, I'll give you examples later. For example, let's say names. If it is in class 1, there are around 21 learning outcomes which children is supposed to do. Okay. Names familiar objects seen in pictures, walls, surrounding associates. Now this is a bit of building a vocabulary kind of. Okay, now straight lines, if you see, this is again related to writing. This is consonant blends, this is relating to speaking. Later small parts, and to be able to speak a dialogue, conversation, debate, that's again higher order language skills. Okay, that's it. I'll just give you some example. And if you look into high school from 8 onwards, now enjoying, now how many of us, our textbooks are not even designed like this, right? So if you look into class 8 learning outcome, enjoys listening to English songs and poems and dialogues of English films and serials. But this is also one of the learning outcome that children should be exposed to, and this is a listening. They'll be able to listen to English songs. Okay, how can we use English songs, good English songs, not something which doesn't have meaning or anything, any random ones, but to be able to listen to a language in the which is in the mix of melody. That is also one of the listenings that the NCRT this one talks about. Okay, so listening at the songs level compares English proverbs, idioms with those of mother tongue. Now we talk only about idioms and proverbs. Now how do we compare it with the mother tongue? This is again now proverb reading. Proverb, when we talk about proverb, it is again about reading skill. Okay, reading of a proverb, and a proverb reading is very different from reading a prose. Right, a proverb reading requires a lot of inferential skill. Use of all idioms requires a lot of inferential skill, which might not be that much important when you are reading let's say a science text. When you're reading a science text, it's only information based. You only have to grasp the idea of it. But a proverb has implication to life, implications of meaning. So here, the brain usage or the is at a different level altogether. So she enjoys using English proverbs, idioms, and connects with home language. So how do we have this as a part of learning? So later maybe, as the syllabus might change and we have this, so there might be, our syllabus might have prose, it might have songs, a syllabus might have proverbs, beautiful, all these, and slowly, how do we use that can also be part of class 8 syllabus. Okay, reads news clippings, subtitles on TV and computer. Now this is again part of reading. Okay. Now how reading clippings? For example, I remember I cannot watch English movie, people say, because subtitles run so fast. Now we have to tune ourselves and train ourselves, because subtitles, be in any language, be in mother tongue, English, anything. Now to be able to quick read a subtitle is also one of the aspects of reading. Okay, some of us take our own time to read, as to be able to quick read, fast, to use our eyes faster and thereby comprehend faster. This is also one of the learning outcomes of class 8. Okay, there are many of them. You can check them out in your the NCRT. There you will get all listed. Okay? So these are basic learning outcomes. The first one, if you see, this is a part of listening skill. Another one is reading, and another one is reading aspect. Now let's see how we can teach this. Is what we will discuss now next. I will give you 2 examples as to how you can teach this. Let's say we are doing number 3. Okay, let's say we are doing number 3. These are, children have problems, especially pronouncing words which have these combinations. Not all of these, especially we have, I remember in just other day, I heard a teacher say stress. And I said, what is stress? She was saying stress, S-T-R-E-S-S. Now, S-T is a consonant cluster. Pooja madam would have taught you. Consonant clusters are where, when they, see for example, M-A-K-E-S, if you look at the words, there is a vowel, there is a consonant, and then A vowel, then again consonant. And so it's easier to pronounce these words because they are, the vowel in between helps us to pronounce the word easily. But when there are no vowels in between, especially like this, sky, bread, father, friend, it is little difficult because there is no verb in between. So children might say iskul. As I said, the teacher was saying, instead of saying stress, she was saying stress. So she was not able to use the consonant clusters of so and ter. Okay. Similarly, here if you see SK combination, so iskai, iskul, istrate, this is general. So we unknowingly, for our convenience, we add a vowel sound before this, because when there is a good vowel divide between a word, it's easier to pronounce. Okay. So if children have problem with this, how do we teach is an issue now. Okay. Now I will do the teaching exercise of it now. Let me begin. I want you to interact now. Okay. Now I will ask you a few questions and you can just tell me that. Right. Let me do the introductory part. Who are the different members in your family? Not as when you are with your mother and the sister, when you're with your family before, of course, you got married, or some of you are still not married. Who are the different members of the family that you have, that you had or have before your marriage? Who are the members of the family? List me some members of the family that you have.
Father,
Mother, uncle, aunt, niece, cousin.
Okay, right. So you have different members in the family, and brother, sister, all that. Okay, so you have brother as the members in the family. Okay. Now, let me ask you another question. Besides, now once we have members in the family, there are other people whom we make closer to us. Okay. Besides the brother or the other siblings, who are the other people who become close to us in our life?
friends,
Good.
neighbors,
Neighbors.
Friends, neighbors, colleagues, classmates.
Teachers. Teachers, right. Yeah. Now let's say you have brothers and there are friends whom you make friends, okay? Now generally, which are the different places where you make friends?
school, class, college,
Office.
working place,
Playground.
in general, neighborhood,
Correct.
journey,
Okay, so the different places where you make friends, okay? So you have brothers who become your friends, and we make friends at school as well. Now at school, which is the most important time for the children? Which time of the school do they like the most at school? Playtime, and playtime is known as what? What is the other word for playtime?
PT, madam.
PT. Any other word?
Education.
Evenings. Any other word? Sports break. Right. Sometimes break time.
Game.
We used to enjoy lunch break. Right. So there are at times interval, and the other word is lunch break. All those are the times we enjoy a lot.
Portion complete. The portion before exams.
Mute yourself, Sridevi. Next. Now, at school, what is the name of the dress that the girl children wear? What do we name that? Uniforms. What are the dresses that the girl child wear?
Unit.
Skirt,
Frock.
What? And then frock as well.
Skirt, ma'am. Skirt and shirt.
Skirt and shirt.
Chudidar,
Other
ma'am.
word for skirt is what?
Chudidar.
Chudidar, madam. Other word for skirt is what? Chudidar also. If children wear frock, what is the other word for frock? Frock. Okay. Yeah. So at school, blouse. Okay. At school, what are the different programs that the school conducts besides the academics for the overall growth of the student? What are the different kinds of programs that you conduct?
Assembly.
Assembly, then
National festivals, ma'am.
festivals. Okay, in the festivals, national festivals. Okay.
Cultural activities.
Okay. Under cultural activity, what are the different programs that you have?
Dancing, singing competition, dance.
Annual day, madam. Annual day.
Is that different? What is drama called in other word? What is the other word for drama?
Skits. Play also.
Play, theater performance.
Play, creator. Okay. So we have discussed. Don't raise your hand unnecessarily. Why you're raising your hand? Now we have different kinds of. We have word break. Okay. Break, brother, friend, school, right? Break time, frock, and skirt. Can anybody read these words for me? Clearly? Mary?
Brother, friend, school, break, frock, skirt.
Okay, good. Let us practice a few more of these words. Read it. Jansi or Sachitra, you read it.
Yeah, ma'am. Brother, break, bring, brown.
1 minute. Who is reading now?
Suchitra.
Read the first one and Jansi read the second one. Suchitra, read the first one.
Brother, break, bring, brown, breath, brief, break, bro, brew.
Okay, good. Next,
Friends.
Jansi, read the next one.
Friends, frack, from, free, fry, froth, fruits, frown, freak.
Okay, froth. Okay. Next.
Sky, skirt, skip, sky, school, skip, scold, skim, skill.
Okay, good. Right. So these are, you should pay proper attention to the sounds. Now I'll read quickly one or two of them. Listen carefully. Brother, break, bring. Friends, frock. Sky, it is not sky, skirt, skip. Okay. Now we'll do a bit of practice exercise. What we will do for practice is to ensure whether you have internalized this or not. Let us do a small, quick practice exercise. Yeah. What you should do is, I'll be reading the words in random, the previous slide which I showed you that has some words. You have to listen to the sound very carefully, okay? And then if you hear the sound of the words which has BR combination, okay, you have to clap your hands. For example, if I say break, then you have to clap your hands. Okay? And if you hear the sound FR combination, like let's say friend, then you have to snap your fingers. If you hear the sound which is combination of SK, that is sky, skip, then you have to stamp your feet. Did you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you hear BR combination, you have to clap. FR combination, you have to snap. If you hear the SK combination, you have to stamp your feet. All right. So you can unmute yourself. Unmute yourself and ensure that there is no background sound. Nobody is talking. Okay. Unmute yourself. As many of you can unmute. So as you hear my sound, my words, you have to produce the sound. Okay. No talking, just your actions. Like brother. Okay. Prop.
100%
Next, scold. Okay. Next, fruits. Next, skill. Next, crown. Okay. Next, breath. Scold. Okay. Next, freak. Next, breathe. Right. Good. Enough. All right. Yeah. So this is how we were trying to practice, give them inputs on the basic sounds and how we can practice it. Okay. Now next, I am going to do another one that is from class 8. Class 8, we will try to do a short. Class 8, you have enjoys listening to English songs and poems and dialogues of English films and serials. Okay, we are going to do that now. So what I will do is I'm going to upload it. Just a second for this presentation. Yeah, what I want you to do is everybody take a notebook. Take a notebook. Everybody's got a notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, madam.
So having taken the notebook and a pen, okay? A notebook and a pen.
Wow.
Can you see what is put up over here? You might have to raise the
So small, man.
font size. You might have to raise the font size. Can you see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
All right. Anyways, you have just write the number now. I want you to write the number, but you should be able to see the song as well. I don't know. The screen is very small. Okay, you need to write from number one in a column. Okay, from number 1 to number 24. 1 to 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You write on a sheet of paper in the order. Everybody mute yourself. No? I don't think I can make this bigger also. Is it bigger now? Or is the same?
Same, ma'am.
Oh, same, no? Oh, only I can see it big, I think. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to play a song. Okay. As I play the song, you'll have to look at the words, look at the number and try to fill the words which has this particular number. Right? Number 1, which one word comes? I'll play it 1 or 2 times so that easier for you to register. So if you have to match the lyrics The song number. One second, wait. All right. Should I play? Now, are you all ready? Have you written from number 1 to 24?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'll play it once. So, the moment you hear the word which is in number 1, you have to write that word. Okay? It's a simple song. Let's watch.
Yes, madam. Ma'am, 24th is not to be seen, ma'am. 24th blank.
Oh, this is so.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I think 24th is almost the same word. I think. No problem. Leave it. That's
Okay.
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 We'll check it out. All right. So, what is the first word?
Little, ma'am.
Little.
Little.
Whenever just a
Little.
Little.
I asked my
Mother.
Mother.
I asked my mother, what will I be next? Please read.
What will I be?
What will I do?
What will I be?
Will be. Will be. Will be.
Rich.
Will I be?
Will I be
Pretty.
Okay, will I be pretty? Will I be?
Will I be? Rich.
Here's what?
She said
to me.
Okay, next line. Whatever will be will.
will be
Will be.
Dash is not for us to see. The
future. Futures.
number 9, what will be will.
Will be.
When I dash up. Number 10.
Grew up.
When I grew up. When I grew up. And number 11.
Fell in love.
Fell in love.
Fell in love.
Yes. And I asked my usual.
Sweetheart.
Yes, ahead. Will we have?
Rainbow.
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 Day after day.
14.
Day after day.
Day after
Number
day.
15.
Here is what my sweetheart
Here is my
Sweetheart.
whatever will be will. 16. Number 17. Whatever will be. Number 18. Now I have children.
Of my own.
Yes. We ask there.
Mother.
What will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be?
Will I be rich?
Rich.
I tell them.
Tenderly.
Okay. Whatever will be. The future is not to see. Kaise rakhe se whatever will be. Okay. 24 is again. Whatever will be. Okay. Right. So this was the part of how, and then we can go further discussing the basic idea of this particular song. Before we do that, let me make you watch the video of it so that you can relate to the song.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, said whatever will be. When I was just the future's not ours to see. Kay said what will be, will I be rich? When I grew up and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Kay said, whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Kay said, what will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly. Kay said
The future is not in our hands.
Future is not in the hands. Okay. So how many stages of life has been described? What are the different stages of life is described here?
3 stages,
Three
ma'am.
stages. Teenage. 3 stages.
Hmm.
Childhood stage, and then teenage, and
Youth.
Hmm. Teenage, mostly the adulthood, where there is a mother, and then the marriage and the child.
yes,
Motherhood.
adulthood stage.
Yeah. So, what are the questions asked by the children when they were young?
Will they be pretty, and will they be rich?
Okay. What are the answers the mother has given?
We don't know about the future. Whatever you'll become, you'll be like that.
Okay, right. What is the question that the lady asks her spouse?
Will we have a rainbow day?
Rainbow day by day.
Will there be a rainbow? Okay. What do you think rainbows meant? What do you think she was trying to say? Rainbows.
Colorful.
Be happy days.
Happy days. Symbolic. Colorful lights.
Right. Husband also says the same thing. Can you guess what could be the meaning of the word quesera kesera from the conference? What could be the meaning of this word kesera kesera?
Whatever will be.
Will be.
Whatever be will be. Yeah. Kesera also means the same. Okay. So different stages of life. Okay. So there are many different stages that we also go through. And I'm trying to relate to life. There are different stages in life that we go through. What are the different stages that we have in our lives? In our lives.
4 stages.
Childhood. So the stages: childhood,
Childhood.
Adolescence,
Youth. Middle age and
middle
old
age,
age.
middle age and old age.
And old age.
Childhood, what? After childhood, straight away middle age. Childhood. Then? Adama, Artha, Kama, Kama, Moksha. Childhood, then?
Youth.
Okay, teenage.
Teenage.
Yes.
Teenage, then?
Adolescence.
Adulthood,
Teenage, then adulthood. After that?
middle
Old
age,
age.
early
Middle age.
middle age,
Middle age is important. All of us are in middle age now. I think most of us. Okay. Middle
Young
age.
age.
Then?
Old age.
Old age. Then? Then bye-bye. Huh? Okay. Then finally we leave the earth. Okay, so different stages. Now, at all these different stages, whom do we ask? Let's say when we are teenage, whom do we ask, sir, these questions when we are teenage?
friends, madam.
Friends.
Okay. Friends and okay, maybe family. Childhood, whom do we ask?
Mother.
Mother. Father.
Father. Okay. Friends, teenage, maybe sisters, siblings also. Adulthood, middle age, whom do we ask?
Grandmother,
Friends.
Grandmother.
Neighbors, colleagues.
Neighbors, colleagues. Okay. Old age, whom do we ask?
grandchildren,
Huh? Grandchildren, of course.
grandsons,
Yeah. Grandchildren. Then
and their friend circle.
friend circle. Okay. You ask yourself also, no? Don't you ask to yourself? Pooja, how is your life? Don't you ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Okay,
Definitely.
so, self introspection also. And finally, after death, whom will you ask?
God, ma'am.
That's God.
We don't know,
When
man.
will you send me back? Huh? What is that? Somebody was saying something. Okay. So different stages, we have to meet different people and we ask different questions to them. Probably answers might be many. Okay. Then where is this? Okay. This is not the one. So what I want you to do is, I'll give you this as homework because I have class running out in the next 3 o'clock. So I'm giving you as a homework. You can try it out. Maybe we will want on. So I want you to use this lyrics. The lyrics are already there, and we can ask different people as to what we want in life. Okay, when I ask your parents, your friends, your child, and at any stage of your life that you can info, what did you ask? What are the things you said? What will be and what will be the future? You can write. You can either ask God, as some may say, you can ask yourself, you can ask your grandchildren, you can ask your mother, spouse, and then write a small extract or the lyrics of this and read it out for one another and post it in the group. Okay? You write and post it in the group. Fine?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So this is what learning outcome is, and this is how, to some extent, it can be executed. We don't know. These are only some ideas that I have thought. Maybe we could think of methodology or techniques of to how learning outcomes could be, taught. So these are a few examples that I have shared. And look at other learning outcomes and try to see if you can figure out teaching of them as well at different stages. Okay? Right? These are only samples. So thank you, everybody. And
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Post this
Thank you,
song.
Thank you, madam. Career.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah.
Please,
Thank you, ma'am.
post this